Rowan Atkinson.
Hello.
Hello. I should point out from the start, I've been doing this a while, and every now and again you plopped in front of somebody who's made quite an immense impact on your life, and you battle with your journalistic instincts to, to play it straight, or to lean into it. So I'm going to lean into it, and admit you, sir, are my comedy hero.
Okay, well that's very sweet of you to say, thank you.
It's free to be nice, isn't it?
Okay,
I might as well.
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. Well, thank you.
From not the 9 o'clock news to Bean to, of course, Blackadder, to Jonny English and A Thin Blue Line. Your kind of work has followed me throughout my childhood and into adulthood.
Well, I'm delighted.
And it's nice to have an opportunity to actually say it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I hope I don't, disappoint you on meeting. That's always
not at all, sir.
That's always the challenge, isn't it?
Indeed. Well, let's start with Man vs. Bee, shall we?
Okay, yes, please.
What was it about this project which kind of piqued your interest, so to speak?
Yeah, I just thought it was a fun idea. I mean, we started off with the idea of a house sitter, a guy who's, given the job of looking after a very fabulous house for a very wealthy couple full of priceless objects. And that just felt potentially funny. There was something about it that that got my goat, as it were, and then we were thinking, what's the catalyst going to be to provide us with a story and a narrative? And a bee felt like a good idea, a battle with a bee, but we needed to create a character where you sort of believed or were more intrigued by the battle, rather than, I don't think, for example, Mr. Bean as a character would have worked in the context of Man vs. Bee at all, because he's too unpleasant and sort of one-dimensional a character. Whereas we needed someone a bit more real, a bit sort of nicer, a more three-dimensional sort of guy, and that's how we came up with, Trevor Bingley, the hero of Man vs. Bee.
Why did you go with bees out of interest? Like, obviously, you're kind of famous for being able to play with syllables and letters, and
right, yes.
People live to hear you use your bees. Was that the only reason behind choosing this particular insect? Why not a fly or a daddy long legs?
Well, they're not very interesting, are they? And bees are fascinating, and people love bees, and people know more about them than they do hornets or wasps. And flies, I don't know, bits of nondescript, they don't look very interesting. You can't really invest them with the kind of character that you can a bee. And we do have a slight love-hate relationship with bees. We love them because we know they do good work. But at the same time, we're a bit scared of them because they can sting. But Trevor, our hero in this series, he gets completely obsessed with the fact that the bee should not be in this house, and the bee has other ideas. And then you sense that the bee acquires a bit of an agenda. It is, you don't really know what the bee's thinking, but you start to guess. And that's what our story's about. But what's interesting is to see a sweet, good-natured man turning into a pathological I've got to choose my words carefully. He exhibits very extreme pathological behaviour, and that's an interesting contrast, because he's a decent guy, but suddenly he becomes extremely the opposite.
One thing that I think audiences will enjoy and certainly tune in for is to see you being able to use your sort of full range of physical comedy,
right? Yes,
which we've come to enjoy in various different sort of iterations in the past. Do you think we see enough of that anymore? Because from Keaton to Chaplin and through to like Mayle and Edmondson and yourself, it was a staple of comedy for years, but it feels like something we don't get to enjoy as much. Yeah,
I mean, I've done quite a lot of it, as you know. If you do Mr. Bean, then you've done a lot of visual comedy, and I like it, but traditionally it didn't used to be a thing for television. Television was a verbal comedy medium because it grew out of radio, which was by necessity a verbal comedy medium. And then I thought maybe with Mr. Bean, which we started many decades ago, I thought that maybe more people would have tried to do visual comedy. I mean, you see it in film. I mean, one of the problems with visual comedy is it tends to be relatively expensive to make. Dialogue is quite cheap, just stick two people in a room and get them to talk to each other. It's quite low cost. Whereas as soon as you've got people, falling through doors or having trouble with the washing machine, it suddenly takes on a whole extra level of complexity. So it's not very cheap as entertainment goes. But I'm slightly surprised that there isn't more of it, because it is perfectly possible to do, which I hope we are continuing to prove. And it'd be nice to see more of it.